Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Brittany Bundles, and today I am on my way to the store, but I'm like, hey, why don't I just check in really quick and do a little chit chat with you guys. I wanted to give just some quick tips on how to build credit. If you guys don't know, I do sell hair extensions, and on my website there is a financing option at the bottom. It's like a blue link that pops up and it says pay over time with PayPal. So I offer financing options to those who qualify, and I do get questions from now and then about, or good questions from time to time about you know, if you're not approved, what could they do to improve their chances of being approved, and how can they build their credit and things like that. So I get into a lot of conversations about credit building just from that on my website. So yeah, I'm just going to go over a few different tips on how to build your credit. Now, me, when I was younger, before I really knew the significance of credit, I was someone that only purchased things with cash, and I thought that that was the right thing to do. If you don't have the cash on you, don't get it. So I never really relied on credit cards, never liked credit cards, never liked loans or anything like that. I think the first credit card that I got was maybe a few years ago. I got a Capital One card. It was a prepaid credit card, and I just put like $200 on it to start building credit. And I really didn't know what to do. A lot of times we get credit cards just because we hear that that's what you're supposed to do, or we may take out a loan just because we hear from someone that's supposed to know about credit that's what you're supposed to do. But a lot of times, for me, I wasn't given the full disclosure. So I want to give you guys that full disclosure now. So first thing, so if you don't have any credit, let me back up a little bit. So the reason that I decided to get credit is because I did want to purchase a home. I knew I wanted to have a home before I was 30. And I knew without having credit, that would be very, very challenging to do. So what I did was I opened my credit card through Capital One. Like I said, it was prepaid. I put $200 down. And the first month that I had it, I just spent all of the $200 and then I paid it off because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. If you use your credit card and pay it off before it's due, then that's fine. But typically, you know, that can be kind of a risky, dangerous game, because if you don't pay it off and if you're revolving over 30% of your card limit, it can have a negative impact on your credit score. So you always want to make sure that you're revolving 30% or lower on any credit cards. That's why I remember my mom and my aunt would tell me, just buy gas with your credit card. Just go out to eat with your credit card and pay it off. So that's where that idea comes from. Just use a little bit of your credit limit, pay that off. And even if you just make the minimum payment, as long as your total balance is below 30% of your credit card, then you should be in good shape. Another thing that I would suggest to do to help build your credit is to, what I want to say, I don't know if I would recommend taking out a large loan. I know a lot of people look into getting like personal loans to build their credit. I'm gonna actually have to turn my car back on and just turn the air on. So a lot of people look into personal loans to build their credit. For me, I really wouldn't do that. I would use my credit card as my unsecured line. And for those of you that don't know what unsecured is just anything without collateral. So a credit card, no collateral, nothing tied to it. It's just a credit card, so it's unsecured. Personal loan, there wouldn't be anything attached to it, so it's unsecured. If you get an auto loan, that's a secured loan because we're using the auto as collateral. Mortgage, we're using your home as collateral. So just to kind of put that out there. So I would recommend getting an auto loan and a credit card. Credit card, like I said, that's going to help build your unsecured credit history, and then the auto loan is going to help build your secured, and those two together should really help increase your score. But you have to do it the right way, and you have to remember not to max out that card. Also, be very mindful of the collections that you may have on your account. You want to make sure that you're not getting too many collections. You really don't want to get any collections at all, but I know a lot of times, when I was looking at credit reports, my friends sent me their credit report. I look at my credit report, and a lot of times you'll have maybe student loans on there, or you may have medical collections. So a lot of us do have collections on there, but you want to make sure that as soon as you see them, you contact the company, try to make out some arrangement, some settlement, and pay it off immediately. So if you can keep collections off your credit report, get you an auto loan and a credit card, then that would really help build your score. Another thing that you want to be mindful of is your savings. Always keep a savings. Don't let your credit card replace your money, because I do know when I tried to apply for a mortgage, they not only looked at my credit history, but they looked at my bank account as well. So they looked to see how much money on average you're carrying in your savings. Excuse me, at least the company that I went through did. So be mindful of that. Just budget. And I'm going to do a whole nother video in depth about how you can budget for different bills. But I just wanted to come out here and let you guys know you can definitely get good credit. It's really not as hard as people make it seem. As long as you figure out kind of the rhythm of how things work in the credit industry, then you're really good to go. Like I said, it's very simple. You just want to make sure that you're not maxing out yourself, and you want to make sure that you have an unsecured and a secured trade. And be careful of who you sign on loans with, because too often we'll co-sign for someone that we love. You know, it's natural. If someone really, really needs something and you want to help, you do that. Or we co-sign for someone that we're with at the time, and we're not thinking that the relationship may not work, and then we break up, or the family member decides to bail out and not pay their portion. You're left with it. So be mindful of who you co-sign for. Me personally, I've never co-signed for anyone, just because I have 3 kids and I have a lot of bills, and I just need to make sure that, I really can't afford it. I can't afford to take that big of a loss because someone else decides not to pay. Not saying they will, but there's always a possibility. So just keep that in mind. Look at both sides of the spectrum. Getting a mortgage versus renting, I get questions about that too. What do I recommend? I personally like renting more than owning a home. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, what you do? Yes, I do. I like renting because it's less headache on my end. For example, when I bought my home, I love the home because I like the space, and I have 3 kids, and my kids were always very loud. They're all boys, so you do the math. So they're really loud, and then we got puppies, and the puppies grew up to dogs, and we were just loud neighbors, and I didn't like that. So I'm like, okay, let's move out, let's get a home. Plus, I've always wanted a home. And in my head, I was just thinking that a home will give you your own personal space, which it does, but I really wasn't thinking about the lawn upkeep and the upkeep on the home. And when you're renting, if anything goes wrong, because I've rented my whole life not my whole life, but since I was 18, before I decided to get my mortgage. And I can tell you, when the grass needed mowed or tending, whatever you want to call it, I didn't have to do anything. I looked out the window and the maintenance men were doing it for me. I took my trash out to the community trash can. I didn't have to worry about paying for trash each month. And when I moved into my home, it might sound stupid to you guys, but I just didn't know. I was like, what? You have to pay for trash? Yeah, you have to pay for trash. What's another thing? Water. Same thing. Normally with my apartments, water would always be included. This was something different to me. And then not just, those minor petty bills. It's actually the upkeep of the home. The first time that my sons ran out the door, the screen flew off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And they're like, my neighbor's like, oh, well, this is an older home. So the people before you really didn't do a good job with the upkeep, but just get the door replaced. Okay, fine. I replaced the door. And then a few months later, we had plumbing issues, and that was very expensive because the wiring in the bathroom wasn't done correctly. So I had to come out of pocket with that too. So normally, if anything happened that I didn't like or that was wrong with the home, I would call maintenance and they would have it done. With the home, it's all on you. So if it was just me and I didn't have any children, I would rent. So for those of you that are single out there and it's just you, or maybe you just have one kid, I would probably rent. But for those of you that have a large family and you actually need to get away from the renting so that you can have more room, because in the apartment they have little playgrounds that your kids can play at, but it's not really, I don't want to say it's not family oriented, but it's kind of not family oriented because we didn't have a huge backyard. There's not a huge front yard that the kids can run and play in. Right now we have a huge front and backyard, so my kids can just go out and burn all the energy that they want to. So I love seeing that. They don't have to really be quiet. They have neighborhood friends. We can have a basketball hoop. We can decorate our home for Christmas and have the lights outside. And with some apartment complexes, you can't. So, I like those things about the home, and I really do like my home. Guys, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if I had the choice, I would probably rent if it was just me. Having a family definitely a mortgage is what I would prefer. Mortgages also help build your credit. It's a big significant loan like on your credit report. So if you can continue making on-time good payments with your mortgage company, then it boosts your score as well. Not only that, but you build equity in your home. So if it ever came down to it, like if you ever really just like needed money, like needed, you wanted to do a big project, or God forbid someone in your family got into trouble, or just anything that you needed a large lump sum for, you could do a loan to take some of the equity out of your home and do like a home equity loan or home equity line of credit or something like that. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of people get, mortgages. I hear that even, back in the day, I would hear my grandmother talking about how important it is to get a home equity loan, or not a home equity loan, but how important it is to get a mortgage just in case, how important it is to own your car just in case. You want to make sure, even if you're broke in your pockets, you're not really broke if you have collateral or if you have items of value. You can always, get money out of those. So that's something to look into, guys. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video. I'm supposed to be in the store right now grocery shopping, so I was like, let me just take this opportunity to come to you guys and just answer a few questions on credit. I really hope this helped. As far as on my website for PayPal, but I do know that they do a credit check when you apply. That's why you have to go through it and click consent and read their terms and conditions. So they do a credit check, and like I said, if you can get your credit good, if you can continue to revolve a good balance, maybe an auto loan, what else? Just give it time to and pay off all your collections, then you should have no problem getting approved through any place. But make sure that you get your collections cleared up, because you can do everything right, get credit cards and keep them under 30%. You can get an auto loan, but if you have a wazoo amount of collections, and I don't know where I got the word wazoo from, but just roll with it. If you have a lot of collections, it's kind of going to counteract. So your score may be wanting to go up, but then the collections are still bringing it down. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you have any questions, if you want a more detailed video of me actually sitting in my office with the pink curtain behind me, then let me know and I will do a more detailed video. I hope this isn't all over the place for you guys, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.